ABC Kinderteach presents One Winter's Day, written by M. Christina Butler, illustrated by Tina McNaughton. Ooh, it looks like it's very cold there, doesn't it? Little hedgehog, and that's what a real hedgehog looks like right there, was making his bed for the winter when a sudden gust of wind, and a gust is just wind that blows suddenly and then it stops, blew him off his feet. It took hold of his cozy nest and tossed it high into the air. Wow. His house nest just blew away. Can you believe it? What's he going to do now? Is he going to try to build a new nest? I hope so. I hope so. The little hedgehog trembled, which means like shivered, as the wind whistled around him, and he wondered what to do. He caught hold of his scarf, hat, and mittens before they blew away and tried to find shelter under the tree roots. But wherever he went, the wind blew there as well. So it seems like the wind is blowing everywhere, and he has no place to get warm. What is he going to do?
I'll have to stay with Badger until this storm has gone.
That's what he's going to do, stay with Badger, he said at last, pulling his woolly hat firmly over his prickles. Then he snuggled into his cozy scarf, put on his mittens, and with a deep breath, he set off. The wind was even stronger in the meadow, and the meadow is just a grassy field. Leaves swirled or spun around and around here and there, and snowflakes filled the air. It makes me cold just thinking about it. Little hedgehog hadn't gone far when he bumped into a family of field mice shivering in the long grass. Oh, what's going to happen here? They look very cold, don't they? And he looks cold. Do you think maybe he'll stay with them instead of Badger?
I've never known such a storm, squeaked Mother Mouse. The wind has blown our nest far away, and my poor babies are so cold.
So it blew the nest of the mice away, and it also blew the nest of the hedgehog away. So they're kind of like in the same boat. Maybe they'll invite them to stay with Badger.
My home has been blown away as well, said Little Hedgehog. I'm on my way to stay with Badger, but I have just the thing to warm you up.
And he took off his woolly hat and gave it to the mice. Oh, look, it looks like a nest. Oh, that was such a nice thing to do.
Oh, lovely, lovely,
they squeaked, snuggling down out of the wind.
Thank you, Little Hedgehog.
Little Hedgehog tucked his nose inside his scarf and ran along beside the racing river. And a racing river is just a river that's moving very fast. Otter was on the bank, huffing and puffing on his paws.
Hello, Otter,
shouted Little Hedgehog.
What are you doing?
Oh, hello, Hedgehog, replied Otter.
My fur coat keeps me warm, but my paws are freezing.
So let's see. He gave the mouse his hat. Do you think he's going to give something to the otter? What would you give the otter if his hands are freezing? Paws. I bet the gloves. I bet the gloves. Yeah, you're right. And that's what an otter really looks like.
Here, have these, said Little Hedgehog, giving Otter his mittens. Oh, these should do the trick. Thank you, Little Hedgehog, said Otter. "Oh, these are great, but shouldn't you be at home in this cold weather?" "I have no home any more," Little Hedgehog replied sadly. "The wind has blown it away." And running on, he cried, "I'm going to stay with Badger." Uh-oh. So he gave away his hat. He gave away his gloves. What does he have left? Oh, just the scarf. I wonder if he's going to give the scarf to some other animal along the way. Maybe. By the time Little Hedgehog reached the woods, the snow was getting deeper. On and on he struggled, which means he found it hard to make it through the snow, picking his way between the snowdrifts as the wind howled around him. A mother deer and her fawn were sheltering, trying to find a spot out of the storm, in the bushes. "Oh, Little Hedgehog, why aren't you in your nest in this awful storm?" she asked. So Little Hedgehog told Mother Deer about his nest blowing away, but as he spoke he saw that the little fawn was shaking with cold. "Here, take this," he said, giving the fawn his scarf. "How kind you are," said Mother Deer. "Thank you, Little Hedgehog." So he gave away his hat, and then his mittens, and now his scarf, and he doesn't have anything left. I hope he makes it to Badger's before long, because he's going to be very, cold, yes. Little Hedgehog pattered on, which means he ran with quick, short steps, faster and faster. But just as he finally saw Badger's house at the bottom of the hill, he skidded on the icy path. "Help!" he cried as he went bumping and bouncing through the snow. Badger, and this is what a badger really looks like, was making tea when he heard a big thud outside. "Whatever was that?" he cried, dropping his toast. When he opened the door, a prickly snowball rolled in. "Gracious me," he said in surprise, "it's Little Hedgehog." And look he actually does look like a snowball, doesn't he? Badger carried Little Hedgehog to an armchair by the fire and gave him a cup of tea. Little Hedgehog told Badger about his journey or trip through the storm, and then, cozy and warm, he fell fast asleep. Little Hedgehog stayed with Badger until the storm had gone. As they walked to where his house had been, Little Hedgehog was very worried. "How can I build a strong new nest if all the leaves and twigs have blown away and there's nothing left?" he asked anxiously, like with worry. "I'll help you," said Badger kindly. "We're nearly there now." And look at the mouse is looking for them. He must have a surprise, right? He looks like he's like, "Oh, here he comes." "Surprise!" came the cry as they turned the corner. Little Hedgehog gasped, which means he breathed in quickly like out of surprise. With delight, the animals he'd met in the storm had made him the coziest nest he'd ever seen. "For the kindest hedgehog in the world!" they all cried together. That's quite a nest. And look at the top has his hat on it and it has his gloves. I don't know what that's for. But inside, his scarf is there to keep him warm. And maybe it looks like some straw or some weeds or something there. Boy, this looks really nice. Really nice.